And here we have it, the man of the hour. He's a director, writer, and an actor as well. And his film is coming out this Friday, May 28th. From the movie where he directed Feral State and he wrote, please welcome Jon, the handsome bastard that you are, Carlo. How are you, baby?
Hey, Eddie, how you doing, buddy?
Oh, man, it's an honor to have you on my show, man.
Honor to be here, brother. Thank you so much.
You know, Jon, your film's coming out the 28th, and you put your heart and soul to this film. But before we talk about it, we want to talk about your journey to Hollywood. So let's turn back the clock just a little bit.
All right.
And how did it start? Okay, you grew up where?
I grew up for most of my life in Toronto, Canada. I was born in Oakland, California. But then when I was like a month old, moved to Israel, then Argentina, but then, settled in Toronto at about 6 years old and lived there until I was 18.
So pretty much your whole childhood.
Yep. Whole childhood, formative existence, everything was in Toronto.
Oh, wow. So Are you a dual citizen?
I'm actually a tri-citizen. I got 3 passports.
Oh, wow. That's the first time I ever met a person with a dual citizenship. So and what other languages do you speak?
English, Hebrew, and Spanish.
Wow. So when you were a kid, did you always wanted to get into showbiz, or did you play sports? Because you look athletic to me when I met you.
I was a big sports guy. I was a jock. I never did anything remotely related to the arts or theater or acting or anything. That all came much later. I played hockey, played football, rugby. I was a wrestler. And it wasn't until way later, like in 1920s, when I started like dabbling in theater. And that's kind of where I caught that bug.
Well, let's reverse a little bit. So you were an athlete, right? You played sports.
Yep.
And then until 18 years old, what happened?
I was a bit of a bad kid in school. My parents got divorced when I was really young. My dad lived in California. My mom lived in Toronto. And she basically said, listen, you're an asshole. I can't control you. You're headed nowhere in life. So she shipped me out to live with my dad in California. And he's a professor at University of California, Davis. He's like a molecular cell biologist. And he's like, listen, I'm going to watch you in this thick Argentine accent. He's like, listen, I'm going to watch you. I'm going to make sure that you don't fuck around. And you're going to go to school. You're going to get a good education. And so I basically, focused and, was studying pre-med. So I was doing chemistry, biology, physics. For the first time in my fucking life, I was getting good grades. And then, I think I was trying to like bang some chick. Like I was really into this girl who was in the theater program. And so I auditioned for a play so I could, hang out with this girl. And we had this like British director. She was from England, and she was like doing a visiting program. And she looked at me and said, Jon, that is the worst audition I've ever seen in my life. You'll never be an actor, but I like you, so I'm going to give you a role in the play, which had no lines. My role was basically to stand in the background and sweep the stage.
Damn.
That was the role. And I did it. And I'm on stage, and for the first time, there's an audience, and like I dropped the broom by accident, and the whole audience laughs, and I was like, "Oh shit!" I got that feeling, like that bug, and that's when it clicked. I was like, "I want to do this, but I want to do it for real." Like with sports, you train, you practice. I remember like when I was playing hockey, I practiced my wrist shot like 1,000 times a day, just practicing a wrist shot, and so I kind of applied that to acting. And in between my junior senior year, I got into a summer program in San Francisco at the American Conservatory Theater, where it was 10 hours a day, every day theater training.
Now listen, I heard that's conservatory acting school. It's really tough to get in, right? So
it is.
I heard there could be 120 people auditioning. They only take 8 a year. Is that how it works?
So in our program, I think only 25 out of like, I don't know, maybe 1,000 applicants applied. I got a grant, so I didn't even have to pay for it. And it was, it changed everything because it is like, Denzel Washington went there. I'm trying to think who else. What's her name? The woman that's married to what's his name? That guy. Annette Bening went there. All these like pretty legit actors, and the program was incredible. And I, came back senior year and booked every lead role in every play in the school, and it like changed everything.
What did you audition? Did you bring a monologue to the acting school? What did you bring?
Yeah. So I brought two monologues, a classical monologue and a more modern dramatic monologue.
Contemporary?
Yeah, contemporary. And so I did Edmund the Bastard from King Lear, and then I did a monologue from John Patrick Shanley's play Dreamer Examines His Pillow.
I like that one.
And yeah, it's a good play. And yeah, I just it was the best experience I've ever had, really.
So when you graduated, right?
Yeah.
Did you say to yourself, you know what? Once I graduate, I'm going to Hollywood? Is that how it worked?
So I graduated college, and then I auditioned for this movie randomly. Like I think it was like on Craigslist or some shit. The movie was called Unflinching Triumph. They were shooting in San Francisco, and it's like a comedy about an underground staring contest league. So like Fight Club, but for dudes who like just stare at each other. And it was hilarious. And I booked this great little role, and it was amazing. And so we wrapped that movie, and I'm like, yo, I'm the shit. I'm a fucking movie star. I could do this. So I just packed up my shit and moved to LA, not knowing that there's 4 million people who look like me, who are also trying to be actors. And, that's when I realized for the first time, Hollywood's no fucking joke. That it's like, this is serious shit. And you got to be good. You got to work your ass off. And you have to be really lucky. Well, and so that's when the journey really started of like, finding an agent, finding a manager, trying to get auditions. And, that was like, I started booking work maybe 5 or 6 years after I moved to LA. It took that long just to get started.
And on top of that, you have to have a job, right? I mean, you got to pay your bills. I'm sure your father, professor's like, I ain't paying shit for you. You're on your own now, right?
Yeah. He's like, good luck. I'll see you in a year. He's like, good luck. So and it was like, yeah.
And then after that, like, where did you live actually? Your first, and listen, I know Hollywood. I lived there. You bounce around everywhere. So where was your first spot? Yeah. I'm assuming you lived with a roommate too, right?
I was on the couch. I crashed on my buddy's couch in West LA, right near UCLA, not in Westwood, but like it was where like the 405 and Wilshire kind of like cross, like right around there.
Near San Vicente?
Right near San Vicente, right there. And I was crashing on my buddy's couch for like 6 months waiting tables. And then one of the guys in the apartment moved out, and I took that room. And, since then I've lived in 9 different apartments. Because, in LA you bounce around.
And how old were you when you moved to Hollywood? Like 22, 23?
Yeah, 22 years old.
So, you're a good-looking bastard. You're saying to yourself, yeah, man, I got the looks, I got the charm, I'm a fully trained actor, and you were still getting rejected left and right? I mean, that's how it is. I
didn't book my first audition. It took 5 years, I think. So I don't know how many, like thousands of auditions I went on. And, I remember like the first one I booked was CSI. I went in for my fitting. And then the day before they shoot my episode, they scrapped my character from the show.
Oh God, I hate that.
And so I was like, I had my first, and that didn't happen. And then the next like big thing I booked was a Super Bowl commercial for Ritz crackers. Mm-hmm. And it was with Guy Fieri.
Oh wow.
Yeah, and so that aired every that was like a fucking I went from making $500 a week to like $50,000 for a fucking commercial.
Yeah. I know those days.
And then after that, I booked an episode of Parks and Recreation. Then I booked an episode of Transparent. And then but it still wasn't enough because I was booking these like, lifeguard number 2 and waiter number 3 and cop number
So
6
it's like
and
under
like
five, right? Under five roles,
all under
day
five,
roles.
all under five day player roles, nothing significant. And I was like, there's got to be a better way. Like, how do I, how can I, advance? And I was like, if I write the script, I can write myself into whatever I write. And then so I started kind of exploring this idea of screenwriting. And I never really studied it formally, but, because I've read 1,000 scripts, I would like read screenplays while watching movies. So I'd like download the script to The Godfather and I'd watch it while reading the script to see like how it translates, like from the page to the screen.
You know what I learned something from you when I met you this past November is that you figure out the script, what's it about after like the 10-minute line? Is that what you're saying? Like when the film comes out to 10 minutes, right? Elaborate on that.
So like, so basically like, there's a whole thing. I used to hear all these like stories of like people, script readers for producers, and they all say the same thing. By page 10, you know if the movie is good or not. And most scripts don't get read past page 10 because screenwriting is like each page is the equivalent to a minute. And if you don't grab the audience by page 10, no one's going to watch your movie. No one's going to make your movie. So I kind of figured it out that like, when you read like screenwriting books about the hero's journey and all these different theories of screenwriting, the inciting incident, like that moment where the main character decides to go down into what mission they're in. Whether it's a love story, they got to get the girl. If it's an action movie, then they got to rescue somebody. And so by page 10 is when you get that that inciting incident, that moment of, all right, this is what the movie's about. You basically introduce all the characters by page 10, and now the movie really begins.
So that's where the obstacle starts, right? What's stopping him, and he has to go fight for what he wants to do, he or she, right?
Yep, exactly. And, it can fluctuate. You don't have to do it on page 10, but it's about 10 minutes into the movie or the script is where, like, the things begin. And, I figured it out really slowly. And I went to Sundance, the film festival.
Mm-hmm.
And, just as a fan, just like as a viewer, and I'm watching all these amazing indie films, like these movies that are so good and well written and well acted, and I was thinking to myself, how do I get into Sundance? Like, this is where the real movies are being made. And so I looked online and I found out that they have this thing called the Sundance Screenwriters Lab, which basically you apply for it. They invite out of 20,000 applicants, 20 people to basically be mentored by the greatest directors and writers in the industry, and they help you write a script, and then they help you finance the movie, and they help you, it's like you basically get into this fast track to filmmaking. And the only thing you needed to apply was the first 10 pages of the script.
That's it?
That's it. That's all you have to do. So I went home from Sundance, and I'm like, I can fucking write 10 pages. So I sit down, and I bang out 10 pages, and I send it in, and I don't hear anything for like 7 months. Then I get an email from Sundance. Congratulations, Jon. You're in the next round of the lab program. Please submit your full script in 10 days.
Oh, shit.
All I got is 10 pages. That's all I had.
But was it a short film or was it a featured film?
No. First 10 pages of a feature.
Oh,
That's
so you gotta add at least, how many more pages? Like at least 80, right?
At least 80, 90 pages. So I lock myself in my apartment, and for like 9 days I do nothing. I'm writing every day, all day. On day 9, I have some actor buddies come over. We do a table read. I fix a couple things. On day 10, I send it in. And then like 2 weeks after that, I get another email saying, congratulations, Jon, you're in the final round. And then I didn't get in. So the last round, I was, rejected. But I had a script. I actually had a screenplay that was finished. And, a month later is when a friend of mine, my roommate, told me, I got this meeting with this guy. He's Israeli. You're Israeli. Maybe you know him. His name is Daniel. Wow. And I never met Daniel. I didn't know Daniel. I just knew of him because the Israeli community it's like it's a very close knit, you know. And so I asked my roommate, I'm like, listen, I wrote the script. It's about Israelis. He's Israeli. Maybe if you have an opportunity, just mention it. Like maybe he'll be into it. Who knows? And my roommate's like, all right, we'll see what happens. So he comes home from the meeting. He's like, John, I mentioned your script. This guy Danny wants to read it. You got to send it to him. So I send him the script. 2 days later, I get an email back saying, John, I read your script. It sucks. I hate it. I'll never make it. But I like your writing. Let's have a meeting. I got an idea for a screenplay, and I think I maybe want to hire you to write it.
Oh, shit.
So I go to this meeting. I meet Danny, and he's telling me like he has this idea based on a true story about this Israeli gangster in Brooklyn, blah, 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 this and that. And he's like, I think, you speak the language, you know the culture. I'll pay you a couple $100. You write me a script. I'm like, done. And so I wrote this script, and it ended up, that's the one that became First We Take Brooklyn, starring Harvey Keitel. But then I send him the final draft. He reads it. He's like, all right, I like it. Let's make it. And I'm like, what? He's like, yeah, I greenlight my own movies. We're making it.
Oh, wow. So what was it like working with him? He was simple? Was he like when you were having meetings with him as far as the writing, what did he say? Like, oh, I want this idea to go this way. I want this scene to go this way. Was it a lot of...
Very, very, very hands-on, especially with this one because, it was my first real, paying screenwriting job, so I didn't know shit. But he was literally, he had the whole movie in his head. He just didn't know how to transcribe it into words. And so we worked on it every page. I want this, I want this, I want this. I'd make a suggestion. He'd either say love it or I hate it. And, we kind of figured it out. But also, when we started shooting, I was on set with him every day. And so I was just like a fly on the wall watching. And, I wrote myself into the movie. And that's how I got to work with Harvey Keitel. Because once I knew that Harvey was in the film, I rewrote my character and put him in all the scenes with Harvey.
Yeah. See that picture right there.
Yeah. And so it's being a writer, it paid off because I was able to control the material. And, I got to act with this, Oscar-nominated legend. But I also got to be on set, just sitting next to Danny, just watching the whole process for the first time being on a feature film. Behind the camera.
So when
and
Danny...
that's where...
Go ahead.
No. Yeah, go ahead.
No, but when Danny was directing Harvey Keitel, right? It's was Danny afraid to sometimes say cut because, he's a legend and it's like...
I mean, there were moments because Harvey is really into improv and he was telling us all these stories about back in the day when I was at the Actors Studio, me and De Niro and Pacino and Marty. And so, he didn't really memorize the script at all. He wanted to improv, and who's Danny or me or anyone to tell Harvey Keitel no.
Right.
And so, but it's even through that, Danny A's got this confidence that people just they go with it, and he directed him, gave him notes, did different takes, and Harvey is who he is, but at the end of the day, he's still an actor, and actors need direction. No matter how good of an actor you are.
Yeah, I totally agree. Did Harvey did he give you any tips about acting? Like, hey, I like this moment what you did with me. Did he interrupt anything with you? Did he give you any tips?
Not really. But there was a funny story that happened where we're doing a scene together and Harvey was like, look, I'm gonna improv. So I want you to start on my close-up. Once we have the scene, then you punch out, get your coverage. Which is the opposite of what you usually do. Usually you go wide, you get your master, then you get your medium, then you do close-up, and then you're done. So we start off with his close-up. I'm talking to Harvey. We're having this bit of a disagreement, and he just fucking smacks me in the face. Boom! Hits me bang. And it wasn't in the script, and no one was expecting it. But now it's his close-up, so it's established.
Wow.
So now... Harvey's like, hey, Danny, did you like that? And Danny's like, yeah, it was great. He's like, John, you're right? I'm like, yeah, Harvey. I mean, I've been waiting my whole life to be smacked by you, so I'm all good. The problem is that now it's established. So there's 3 people in the scene. We have to do coverage, medium, wide. And we end up doing 22 takes, and it has to smack me on every take because it's established.
Wow. In the
And
movie,
it was
in the movie Scarface. Speaking of slapping, and I know Stephen
yeah,
Bauer very well, the Manola character, but it
yeah.
took them 23 takes for the girl to slap him.
Wow.
But Brian De Palma and Oliver Stone, I
Yeah.
think he nailed it after 3 takes. But they were laughing their asses off. So like, oh yeah, Steve, that was great. Just a little more. I want this. But they kept laughing in between takes.
That's amazing.
So did your face
That's
turn
amazing.
like red like a lobster?
Oh, it was like I had a handprint like this of Harvey Keitel's hand like on my face. But it's fun. But I told Harvey this, and because while we were doing it, he was like, John, are you sure you're okay? He's like, Harvey, listen, I don't know if you remember this, but like 15 years ago when I moved to LA, my first waiting tables job was in Venice Beach at this restaurant called Ashe. And he would come in every morning. So I'd wait on Harvey Keitel every morning for like 6 weeks. Like he was shooting something or he was in town. And so I asked him, I was like, do you remember me? He's like, oh yeah, I remember you. You prick, you always fucked up my eggs. He didn't actually remember me, but he's being kind because he never ordered eggs. He ordered fucking oatmeal or whatever. Oh. But he was such a sweet guy. He was such a nice guy. And he was like, yeah, of course I remember you. And it just like, 15 years later, I'm acting with Harvey in a movie that I wrote. And it's one of those like full circle moments that, kind of like take you back for a second and make you think about like, wow, this fucking life is crazy.
Okay, so the movie not Mob Town, that's later. First We Take Brooklyn comes out, right? Now, tell me the story.
Yes.
Right here's the billboard, right?
Yeah.
And there's a picture of you right there. Now, you're actually right behind it, right?
Yeah.
In that
I'm the guy. I'm the guy hanging out of the car with the the AK-47.
So is this on Sunset Boulevard?
It's on Sunset Boulevard, right? Okay. Right next to One Oak. There's a huge billboard there. Mm-hmm. And but we wrapped the movie. I come back to LA. I only got paid like maybe like $1,000 to write this script, mm-hmm. And I would have done it for free. But like I didn't know anything about screenwriting and WGA and all this shit. So I have to go back to waiting tables because that was my job. The job ended, so I come back to LA and I go back to the restaurant I was working at, and I'm excited because the movie's taken a while to come out. They got to edit it and market it. So a couple months later, I hear that the movie's coming out. We have a release date, and that there's a billboard on Sunset, and I took pictures of the billboard, posting it on social media. Everyone's like, you made it, John, you made it. And I'm like, yeah, but I'm still waiting tables. Like, I'm still working at this Italian restaurant. And I'm waiting tables one night, and a bunch of my friends come in. They didn't know I worked there because I wasn't telling people I was waiting tables. I'm mm-hmm. trying to keep it a secret because, I want to, have keep the dream alive. And they come in, and they're like, John, what? You work here? I'm like, yeah, just a little side gig, whatever. Like, we just drove by Sunset Boulevard and saw your face on a fucking 200-foot billboard. And it was like a nice moment, but it was also like soul crushing because I was like, oh yeah, so you want garlic bread with your order and a glass of wine? And it was like one of those moments where, first of all, don't believe everything you see on social media because a lot of people are full of shit. And also, success is not always like monetary. Doesn't always mean you have a house in the hills and a Ferrari. Like, there's baby steps to success. Yeah. And, I had to like really suck it up and be like, yo, it is what it is. I do this to pay my bills. I do that because it's my dream and my passion. And I wasn't embarrassed about it. I was like, this is it. This is part of the journey, And it was, it's one of those moments where you have to test your ego. You have to check your, are you strong enough to be, persist in this industry, because it's not easy and it takes a long time. And anyone who tells you there's an overnight success, it's a 20-year journey.
It is. And you know what? I always tell people, just because you got a billboard, you're in the billboard, or just because you're an Oscar nominee, like my friend Paul Racy from the movie Sound of Metal, he's still in the courtroom interpreting. Is he getting a lot of offers right now? Yes, but it's not like you're nominated for an Oscar. All right, now you're rich. That's not happening. It's the same thing with Vincent D'Onofrio, the actor.
Yeah.
Same thing with him. When after Full Metal Jacket, guess what? He went right back to bouncing at Planet Hollywood in New York City. It's just,
Wow.
you know, you don't,
Yeah.
you know, you got to keep the water running. And that's what people don't understand about Hollywood. It's, you got to stay consistent. You're only good as your last job. And that's it. And when are you employed? You don't know.
Exactly. You never know. And it's like, you know, feast or famine. And if the end goal is the only thing you care about, then you won't make it. Because sometimes it takes so long to get there that, you know, they say it's about the journey. And if you enjoy the process, if you enjoy the journey, then you won't want to quit because you're enjoying, you know, the process and the craft of what you're doing, as opposed to like, I just want money and fame and fortune and all this shit. And so that's why a lot of people don't make it. That's why a lot of people come to LA 4 or 5 years and they leave, because you know, you have to want it more than anything else. And if you're in this business to make money, you know, there are way easier ways to make money in this world. Go into real estate, be a salesperson, do what, like, you know, the Hollywood is not a get rich quick thing.
No, absolutely. and, you know, when you see these girls or guys at, you know, early 23, you know, 24, they made it, but people don't realize they started at fucking 4 years old, man. You know what I mean? So,
or they're related to someone, or you know, their dad's director, or their uncle, or this, like, you know, the number of guys like us who have no connection to the business, or blue collar dudes who make it, dude, it's so rare. It's such a, you know, 1,000,000 to 1 shot. But, you know, it's those who never give up. It's, you know, it's perseverance is everything.
So after first we take Brooklyn, then Danny asked you to write another one?
Yeah. You know, you know, the movie comes out, it does pretty well. And then he's like, all right, let's make another movie. And I was like, thank fucking God. And so, you know, we got into it. He had a script originally that he liked that was written about Mobtown. It had a different title. And I read it, and I told him, I'm like, Danny, this movie is like, it's a bad script, bro. I don't think you should make this movie. Like, you know, he wanted me to touch it up a little bit. And he's like, what do you mean? Because the movie, first of all, the script was like 220 pages, and it was all mafia. It was all about the mob. It was all about the mob. And listen, you know, Scorsese and all these guys, like, they've done mob movies so well that it's really hard to do something new and original when it comes to the mob. But in the movie, in the story, there's a character about a small town cop who, you know, lives in a, you know, he's this guy who, like, lives in the police station because he's, you know, divorced and has no home, and he loves cars, and he's like this Rocky type character. And you know, Danny and I both were like, why don't we take that character and write the movie about him? The mob's in it, and the whole meeting that happened in Appalachian, that's the whole part of the story, but let's have it from the cop's perspective. And he loved it, and so that's kind of how we changed the script, and David Arquette played that role brilliantly. And, you know, I wrote myself another great role in there, and that movie was a huge success. Like, that one was everywhere. Like, they had it on airplanes, Showtime picked it up, and, you know, even now, it's like, you can still watch it, and it's got good reviews. And that was an incredible process, because I was way more involved in the production side of it, too. Like, you know, Danny hired me not just to be the writer, the actor, but also like his assistant on the movie. So I was right next to him on the monitor, watching, learning, and that's when I really started to feel like, you know what, I want to direct something. I would love to actually move, like, keep the ball rolling, and one day hopefully try to direct something. But this movie was, you know, like the best experience of my life, for sure.
What did you learn from David Arquette? Because that guy could deliver, man. That guy could act.
Yeah. You know, the thing is, when you meet David, he's one of the nicest guys on earth. Like, there was a day where we were shooting, we were going late. It was like 110 degrees in upstate New York. And he just kind of wandered off and comes back with like 200 popsicles and bought, you know, ice cream for the whole crew. Another day we were going late, it's like 4 a.m. He ordered 20 pizzas for the crew. He's the nicest guy, but when he's on set, he doesn't talk to you. He's focused on his character. He's focused on his role. He's listening to music to get into the zone. And it's not that he was being rude. He was just, like, really focused on his job and his role and the character. And then you call cut, and he's the nicest guy in the world.
Yeah.
But he worked. He showed up on time every day. He stayed. He was the first one there, last one to leave. Knew all of his lines, hit all of his marks, and he's a very famous guy. He's been around for a long time. He doesn't have to be so hardworking and sweet, but he is, and that was a really amazing thing to learn about someone like him, because his commitment is 120%.
But he's also probably thinking that, hey, you know what? I got to set myself as a great example. These young kids
Yeah.
are watching me
Right.
act, and no matter if it's a independent film or not, I'm still gonna
Yeah.
go to my A game because I got to
Right.
deliver.
Absolutely. I think that's definitely part of it. Yeah, he was a real inspiration and one of the nicest human beings on earth. Like such a good dude, really, really good guy, and a great actor.
Yeah, he is. So
Yeah.
now, let's get to this film, Feral State, which is coming out this
Yes.
Friday. Okay,
This Friday, yes, sir.
you directed it, you wrote it. How did you
Yes.
get the debut? Like, who gave you the opportunity? How did you get the phone call? What happened?
So Danny A gets a call from some friends of his. They say, "Hey, listen, we have a little bit of money to make a movie. We got, this thing. We have to shoot in Florida, uh, but the budget was very low, especially compared to the movies that Danny A does." And he tells them basically, like, "Listen, it's not enough money. Like, it's a low budget. It's not like, I'm kind of way above that. But I got a guy who I think might want to do this." And they're like, "All right." So I get a call from Danny saying, "Hey, John, you want to direct a movie?" I'm like, "What? Do you want to direct a movie?" I'm like, "Yeah." He's like, "All right, done. I'm going to connect you with you guys. You're going to direct the movie." So I don't even know what's going on. Hangs up the phone. Next day, get a call from these two, executive producers from Florida, um, Nick and Marianne Tamposi, amazing people, and they own a modeling agency, and they have their hands in a lot of different things, and they have a little bit of money, but there's no story, there's no script. There's just like they have some actors they want to put in it, and we have a location we have to shoot in Florida, and they're like, Danny says you're a great director. I'm like, yeah, yeah, I'm a great director, absolutely. I'm like, I don't never done this before, but fake it till you make it. Got to always believe in yourself and have that confidence. And so I have this money to make a movie, but there's no story. They don't even like. They're like, whatever you want to do. Uh, so I'm thinking to myself, I'm like, I've never been to Florida, let alone Central Florida. This isn't Miami. This is like swampy,
Oh,
like
I
Central
know,
Florida.
I know where you're
Yeah,
at. Trust me,
yeah.
I've
And
been
so I
there.
decide, yeah, so And so I decide, you know what, I'm going to move there. I'm going to move there 3 months before we're set to shoot and figure it out. So I moved down to Central Florida and I'm driving around and I'm looking and I'm like, oh, that's a cool location. Put in the script. Orange Hummer, let's use that. And I'm just driving around seeing what's available. I meet the local cops. I meet the local firemen. I'm talking to the whole town. And I'm, people are just being so friendly. Like, the one thing that really shocked me was like, Central Florida is the South. It's like, North Florida is like the deepest South you could go.
Where was it?
And
Where was it exactly?
so it's in Citrus County, which is about an hour and a half, 2 hours northeast of Orlando.
Okay, yeah, I know where that
It's
is.
kind of right in the middle between, the Gulf Coast and the Atlantic. It's like all these amazing, like cold water springs, and the Crystal River is around there,
Were you near
and
Gainesville?
swamps. No, no, no. It was near Ocala.
Oh yeah. Oh my God. There's
Yeah,
nothing there, buddy.
nothing. But the people in the region were so nice, and the Southern hospitality is a real thing. And
Hmm.
I'm this LA liberal dude with skinny jeans and fucking motorcycle boots walking around, and these people are like Confederate flags, but like the nice people in the world. And they gave us everything for free. We got locations, we got 200 extras, we got cop cars. They were so friendly and so warm and so inviting. And it was a beautiful scenario because there's no way I could have pulled off,
But it's an
this
honor
movie.
for them to have a movie filmed in
Yeah,
their county, man. They're like, shit, whatever you want, we
absolutely.
got you, right?
Totally. Yeah. And that's what happened. And so I kind of pieced together the story based on what I had available. And, we shot the whole thing in 15 days, which is insane.
What was it, like
But
18
like
hours a day?
it was, yeah, it was like, between 12 and 18 hours. We started off 5 days on, 2 days off, and then we just started doing 7 days. But like, I didn't know that Central Florida is the lightning capital of the world. I also didn't know that if there's lightning, legally you're not allowed to run generators.
Oh shit. Okay.
And one of my main locations was this like kind of like burnt out abandoned barn that we converted into like their hobo encampment thing. And there's no power. And so, half the script takes place in this one location. But there's lightning storms every day. So we had to shut down every day. So I had to shoot 8 pages a day just to finish the movie. And by the end of the first week, we shot 8 pages.
Oh, wow.
And so we're looking at each other like, what the fuck are we going to do? How are we going to finish this movie? And someone on the crew was like, why don't we just get an electrician to come in and wire the barn, hardwire it? And we did that. We wired it so we didn't have to use generators. And then all of a sudden we're shooting 10 pages, 12 pages, 15 pages, 16 pages, 20. We caught up by the second week. And, there's no way on earth I could have done this without having this amazing crew who just were fucking walking through gator-infested swamp water. And my DP, Joel, was like, fucking doing everything. And my camera operator, Derek, and like my sound guy. Everyone was so devoted to just making this movie. And
it was an oven out there, right? It was at least like 100 degrees, right?
100 degrees with 8,000% humidity.
Yeah.
I mean, like, there was no such thing as just dry clothing. It's drenched. We had mosquitoes. Our locations manager got mauled by a rabid dog. One of my actors got a tick on his balls. I mean, the shit that happened on this movie, I could write a whole movie about the making of this movie.
I think you should do that next.
I really should. I think so too.
It's a great documentary right there.
Bro, it was amazing. Amazing. And we finished it. And then, COVID happened. So we had to the whole world was shut down. But that gave me some extra time to recut and re-edit. Right. Because, the movie you end up with isn't the movie you start with on the script. Right. It changes. Yeah, of course. Changes when you shoot it, changes when you edit it. And so, it took a whole extra year to get the movie to where I needed it to be. But that's what COVID kind of allowed us to have that extra time.
Right. How did you get this actress?
Annalynne. Yeah, Annalynne Mccord. She was in First We Take Brooklyn.
Was she the one bartending?
Yep.
In the film?
She's the one bartending.
And
that's her.
She had a shitty boyfriend or a shitty boss. I forgot.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
Okay.
She had a shitty boyfriend, and then Danny's character kills the boyfriend, and they fall in love. And so I met her on that set, and, we stayed in touch, and she's a big enough name that we needed a big name to, help sell the movie. And she came down for 3 days, and we shot 10 scenes in 3 days. And she, was amazing. She fucking killed it.
Yeah. She looks great on screen, and I could tell she could act very well. So, okay. You got Annalynne. She killed it in 3 days, right?
Yep.
Were there any other girls that you wanted to cast besides her if she would decline?
Yeah. I mean, I think we had a bit of a list for her, but I think early on we knew that she, was really into the script, and I think she grew up in the South, and so she was really into it. She's never played a cop. She always plays the hot chick or, the love interest. Right, and, right. Her character in the movie is a tough ass kicking, no bullshit taking cop. And, that really appealed to her, and she really wanted to do it. And so, she signed on right away. And then we cast this actor named Ronnie Jean Blevins, who's the other lead of the movie.
The guy with the long hair?
The guy with the long hair. And he's, one of the best actors I've ever worked with in my life. I mean, he's such an underrated actor. He's like a star. He's ready to be a star, ready to be a leading man. He's got so many credits on IMDb, but he's never got the opportunity to really carry a film before. And so this was that for him. And he murdered it. He killed it. And, the whole cast is so good. Everybody, Octavio, Jaden, Baldor and Sif, everyone involved just gave it their A game. And we sold the movie to an amazing distributor, Vertical Entertainment. It's funny because, people used to tell me, look, making a movie is really hard, John. Selling a movie, that's the hard part,
Right, right.
you know?
And how'd you
And
get the
yeah,
cast? How'd you get the rest of the actors? Did you have them audition, or did you knew these actors and said, "Hey, I'm doing a movie. Come
you
on
know,
down."
I didn't have the luxury of time to really audition. And so, I didn't go through a casting director. I just had conversations with these people, whether it was on Zoom or Skype or FaceTime.
Oh, okay.
Um, and I got a vibe. But, being an actor for so long, I can tell, like, I can tell real quick, like, if you can do it or not.
Right.
And that's kind of where, like, I think I shine as a director, as I'm an actor's director, because I know
Which
how to talk to actors.
which I love directors that
Yeah.
are actor directors. Because
Yes. Yes.
you're behind the camera, you know that experience, and you know how to be in front of the camera, and you know their language. And when you know their
Right.
language, you're gonna get a good
Right.
take.
Yeah. And that's kind of what the my biggest strength was working with these actors, and it made all the difference because the conditions weren't rosy and it wasn't comfortable. We didn't have trailers, and we had 2 to 3 takes and we had to move on. And so having that experience as an actor really helped you know move the movie forward, and get these amazing performances that I was able to get from these talented actors.
How did you get the distributing? Who was it? They start with a V. What?
Yeah, Vertical Entertainment.
Okay, Vertical
Yeah.
Entertainment. Did you say, "Look, I have a movie. I want you to take a look at it"? How did they find you, or how did you find them?
Well, we started sending the movie out to a bunch of distributors. Not it's my first go at this, so I have no idea what the fuck I'm doing. And so I'm not. All I know is that selling a movie is the hardest thing in the world. But because of COVID, every other production on earth was shut down.
Right.
So everyone's locked down at home watching movies. Nothing's being made. So all these distributors needed content. So normally a small little movie like mine, wouldn't get much attention. But because there was nothing else out there, there was this bidding war between all these distributors who wanted the movie. They were fighting over it, and they were calling me, and all this stuff. And it was incredible, the timing of, like, right place, right time, having a movie finished when everyone else was shut down. That, like, the supply and demand, there was, like, no supply and all demand. And I really liked Vertical. I love their movies that they distribute. Speaking to the people in the company, I got a really good sense that they got it, they cared about it, and the decision was really easy for me to go with them.
So that gave you a lot more confidence, right? You're like, "Oh shit, someone
Yeah,
picked up my movie. I'm feeling good
yeah,
now, And now you're
yeah.
like, once the movie got picked up, now you're like, you know what? I'm gonna write another film, right? I mean, is that what you're
Oh,
doing?
buddy, I got 10 scripts ready to go. You know what I mean? Ready, like ready. Because who knows when I'm going to get this opportunity again. And so I'm just I'm sitting here waiting for the movie to come out. I got these scripts ready, and I just need that next person to be like, all right, what do you got next? And I got this, I got this, I got this, I got this. You tell me what you want, I got it.
That's so awesome, man. I mean, listen,
Yeah.
John, you bust your ass. When you say luck, I think it's preparation that gives you luck. You are prepared.
100%.
You busted your ass, and it's gonna come out this Friday. Can you
Yes,
tell us
sir.
what the movie is about, so for our
Absolutely.
viewers to know what's this movie about?
Feral State. It's basically about a guy who takes in these orphans and runaways off the street, gives them a home, a place to live, but trains them to be criminals. And they go around Central Florida, they rob drug dealers, and they blow up meth labs, and they become this, like, ragtag vigilante crew. And they do bad things, but for a good reason. And it's kind of like a modern day retelling of Oliver Twist, where you have, like, this guy who is evil but loving father figure who takes in these kids, and gives them a shot, but they don't do the nicest things.
Sounds interesting to me. I can't wait.
Thanks, buddy. Thank
So,
you, brother.
tell us, what movie theaters is it coming out on? Like,
So we don't know exactly which theaters yet because of COVID. We do have a theatrical release, but it's really hard to pinpoint. So we're starting out on VOD, and we're basically on every single platform except Netflix. Amazon, iTunes, Spectrum, every platform available other than Netflix. And you can stream it, rent it online, on PlayStation, on everything. And you can just go to feralstatemovie.com, and we have the list of all the platforms that it's going to be on.
Well, look at that. Look, someone actually gave you a great compliment. I'm going to put this right here on the broadcast right here. Watch this. So one of the guys comments, hold on. Here we go. Can you read that right there? From Heath
Yeah,
Z.
Here we go. It sounded like he's a hustler and worked for everything he's earned. Much respect. Thank you, Heath. Appreciate it, buddy.
See that? Look at that. You got fans already. I mean, listen, your story's great. I love it. You know, I'm in your shoes, man. I know what it's like. You know, you go to acting school. You're fully trained. You get rejected most of the time, 98% of the time. Finally, you say to yourself, you know what? I'm gonna write my shit. Get into the writer, and then boom, and here it is. This Friday, May 28th. You go to feralstate.com. You see where all the movies are played, with all the platforms. And boom, baby, watch the film.
Love it.
And you know what? I want you guys, watch the film. Tell me what it's like. I'm going to watch it. Come on now. This is my man, Jon Carlo. You know, and John and I, we have a great story at Danny A's house.
Oh, God, we do. Oh, we do.
So for the viewers out there that don't know who Danny A is, he's one of my favorite people. This guy is a hustler, just like John. But he's got balls, he's got the audacity, and he just goes and he just does it. He's a doer. He's not a talker. So what happened was, I'll tell the beginning story, okay? I'm in Hollywood. I'm giving up my apartment because, you know, as an actor, you don't have to live in L.A. anymore. And so what happened was I had to get rid of this safe that weighs 500 pounds. So John and
It's 1,200 pounds.
It's 1,200?
1,200 pounds.
Oh, my God. All right. So John and I, we're doing research, who to find. I find this mover. But so we get to Danny A's house, and guess what happened? Go ahead, John. Take over. Because Danny A wanted to say.
So we get to the house. The guy that you hired was a nice guy, but maybe not the most experienced mover. And he's got this, like, hydraulic dolly. And, it doesn't seem right. Danny's got these really narrow staircase, and he's got these beautiful hardwood floors in this, house in the hills in Hollywood. And he's nervous. He's like, yo, don't fuck my floor up, guys. Don't fuck my floor up, all right? This is my house. It's my sanctuary. I'm like, nah, we got it. This guy's a pro. Don't worry, we got it. So we got this 1,200-pound safe on this dolly, and we're going up to the stairs, and we get to the edge of the first step, and the step shatters, goes bang, breaks. The dolly falls down to the second stair, boom, breaks the second step. And like it almost falls down the stairs. And me and Eddie are grabbing it, and we're like trying to pull it up, and it's gonna fall, and we drag it out, and Danny's like, you broke my fucking house. Get the fuck out of here, you motherfuckers. And so we get the fucking safe out, and the stairs are busted, and Eddie and I, we were like, oh, we're dead. Like, Danny's gonna murder us.
We're done.
Like, we're done.
We're done.
We're blacklisted. We're done.
We're blacklisted in Hollywood, man.
We're blacklisted from Hollywood. We're done. I promised Danny, I'm gonna fix it. I'm thinking to myself, look, it's hardwood floors. I can find replacements. So I look online. I find the name of the brand of the flooring. Discontinued 7 years ago.
Oh my God! Yeah, you told me that.
So I find one place in the Palm Desert, 2.5 hours from LA, that may have some leftover pieces, but they don't know. It's in the warehouse. So I drive to the Palm Desert. I find the two specific pieces that we need, like the stair cover, nose part. Mm-hmm. And I get them, bring them back, bing, bang, boom, fix the stairs, and we're not blacklisted. We're okay.
Yes, because I texted him. I said, Danny, I'm sorry, man. Well, I have no excuses, And then I'm texting you, yo, John, what'd he say? He's like, can't even talk.
I know.
He's not talking to me. And then finally you fixed it, and then Danny says, I like you a lot now, right? All right, well, listen.
I know.
It's a pleasure, man. Seriously,
Eddie, thank you.
I can't wait for the film. I'm gonna watch it. I'm definitely gonna watch it. I like thrilling films, thrillers, right? Is that what it is?
Yeah.
So
this is a thriller. It's a swampy, dark, sexy thriller set in Florida. I mean, it's not too long. It's not too short. You're in and you're out, and it's a fun ride. And I think, it's going to do well. I think a lot of people are going to love it. And thank you for your time, Eddie. I mean, you're an inspiration. You're a hustler like me.
Well,
So I
thank you,
look up to
man.
guys like you, man, and you got all these things going on, and I really appreciate your time and your energy.
Oh, thank you so much. Serious. Right back at you. And fellas, this Friday night, what are you going to do with your girl, right? You go, you get wine, you make her dinner, and watch the film. That's it. Boom, there you go. She's going to love you even more.
Boom.
All right.
Bing, bang, boom, baby. Hey, what's up, everybody? It's Jon Carlo, director, writer of the upcoming movie Feral State. Just want you guys to know that you have to subscribe to Eddie Mata and the Eddie Mata Show. He's everywhere. He's on YouTube. He's on Instagram. He's on Twitter. He's on Facebook. He's a guy's guy. He's an artist. He's a hustler. And one of the best podcasts I've ever done. So check it out and subscribe now.